Former Miami Dade Circuit Court Judge Alex Ferrer. He used to be a cop.
Yeah.
Judge, what's your response to that?
I thought that was great.
You do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Isn't it still Fiesta in San Antonio?
They probably would have been
partying right now.
They probably would have been more cooperative and amicable about turning the music down after he danced with them.
Yeah, probably. Well, it worked out well.
Oh, that's right. They eventually would turn the music down, I assume.
Indeed. All right, let's talk a little bit about something we've been talking about for the last 2 days. There is a Democratic state lawmaker down in Texas.
Yes.
She is squarely behind sanctuary cities. She doesn't like anything that would infringe on it. There she is right there, Victoria Neve. She has gone on a four-day grueling hunger strike. Listen to her yesterday.
I feel fine. I feel healthy. Our hope is that others, individuals, will either join us in the fast, and we're amazed at those who are already joining in the fast, that individuals will pray.
Okay, wow. So there she is 2 days into the 4-day strike.
Yeah, it ends in 4 days. I mean, it has a beginning and an end already set.
I admire her commitment.
Not exactly Gandhi, right? I mean, I don't know if you can call it a hunger strike if it doesn't even qualify as a diet.
She's cutting back a little.
She's like missed a meal. I mean, her commitment is like, I'm really committed to this cause, but not as committed as I am to that muffin over there.
They got a party on Thursday. I can't have a hunger strike.
Why is she doing it?
I actually don't know. I don't know why she's doing that.
But it shows you the mindset of somebody who actually cares about illegal immigrants enough to cut back.
It's not, I mean, realistically, what are you doing? I'm not a big fan of hunger strikes. I don't think it gets a point across, but at least those people who actually do a hunger strike, like Gandhi, are taking it to the limit and really calling attention to it. How much attention are you calling to it when you say, I'm not going to eat for 4 days? It's not a heck of a lot.
Good point.
I think that's a Mediterranean diet.
I mean, that's a good one for you.
Just cutting back.
Okay.
Meanwhile, let's talk a little bit about a New York, I think somebody over in the Brooklyn DA's office. What they're going to do is they realize that this is a sanctuary area, and people who are going through who are being adjudicated, this guy's going to try to minimize the immigration consequences for convicts. So in other words, if it's a small crime, not going to call ICE.
Okay, prosecutors have prosecutorial discretion. For example, a theft, if somebody takes your purse off the park bench next to you, it's a theft. If they beat you down and take your wallet out of your pocket because they used force in the taking, it's a robbery. So prosecutors often use discretion in circumstances where, like, somebody steals a steak from the supermarket and as they're running out, push somebody out of the way. Technically, they've used force in the taking. That's a robbery.
Okay.
But prosecutors will say, well, we're not going to charge it as a robbery because the punishment's so severe for what he really did. We're going to charge it as a theft. If this prosecutor is basically saying, look, you know, this guy jumped a turnstile on the subway, I don't think that deportation is an appropriate punishment, so I'm going to reduce the charge or decide not to prosecute or something like that, you know, that's one thing. If he's saying, I'm going to take somebody who committed an armed robbery and bind it down to a theft because it goes from a felony to a misdemeanor, right, and that way he's not going to be deported, that's a whole different ballgame, and it's going to be up to the voters to say, you know what, I don't want a district attorney who's more concerned about protecting people who commit crimes than he is about protecting me.
Sure.
And so it's going to be up to the voters to decide if they want to remove that district attorney from office.
Well, there are some illegal immigrants that are here in the country that are scared to even go out and drive because they're scared they're going to get a speeding ticket and they're scared they're going to get deported.
Sure.
So in a situation like that, what do you think needs to happen?
Well, yeah, I'm not a big fan of deporting illegal immigrants for minor violations. I think that we need to do something. There's a lot of people who are here. Yes, they are here illegally. We take advantage of that. I mean, how many people have workers who do work for them very cheaply and things like that? They're not violating any laws. They're not intending to violate any laws, other than the fact that they are violating the law by being here. I'm not a big fan of ripping people out of this country. I just don't see it as very American for a minor violation like a speeding ticket. If they commit a crime, a serious crime, absolutely.
I don't think he's looking to do that anyway.
I don't think he is either.
By the way, if you don't want to get pulled over for a speeding ticket, you might not want to speed.
Sure. Well, what about the story of the Dreamer last week, who has been apparently deported? He apparently had a record in the United States where he had shoplifted, done some other things, but he also went into Mexico without asking for permission, which is one of the requirements of DACA. And then they caught him climbing back into the United States, and they said, you never asked for permission, you stay over in Mexico.
No, totally different ballgame. You know, and by the way, if you're committing a theft, you know, you're really depending on people to make a judgment call on whether they think the theft is a serious enough crime or not. You know, I don't think we really want more thieves in this country. So there are plenty of people who go like, hey, you know what, that's not necessarily jumping a turnstile and avoiding a $2
Fair.
Fair. That's
and by having one of these visas, that's an honor to get one of these. So you have to follow the law. You can't go back and forth without.
You're already behind the 8 ball.
Absolutely.
Because there are people who are waiting to legally enter this country. If you're entering illegally and then you're violating the laws, you're begging for some action against you.
Mm-hmm. All right. Meanwhile, we've been telling the story of Ann Coulter. She is scheduled to speak April 27th. The University of California, Berkeley had said, you know what, we can't make sure that you're going to be safe that day. Come on May 2nd. Now the Young American Foundation is going to go ahead and sue Berkeley and Janet Napolitano, our former Department of Homeland Security Secretary, who runs the system as well, because it's just not fair. It seems like they're trying to quell conservative talk.
It certainly seems that way, and there is an exception to free speech called the hostile audience exception. It's very limited because courts recognize that you open a door to people basically who don't want to hear speech saying, oh, you know what, the audience was going to be too violent, so we couldn't allow this speech to occur. I guarantee you that at Berkeley, the birthplace of freedom of speech on campuses, in 1964, if the speaker was an African American and the protesters were white supremacists who didn't want to let the speaker speak, I guarantee you that they would have marshaled the police resources necessary to make sure the speech occurred. It's just speech that doesn't coincide with their views.
This is one of these issues that goes across party lines. When I watch Bill Maher put in his monologue that Ann Coulter should speak, and Bernie Sanders says the same thing.
He's right.
This is an alarm system that should go off through all colleges.
Right.
This has got to stop
Especially when you
this
consider
year.
Janet Napolitano. She's now head of the UC system. She was head of security for our, excuse me, for our country.
Right.
She can't keep one campus safe.
Yeah. No, well, this is a situation of the young eating the parents, because this is the atmosphere that has been generated by the liberal professors on campuses all over the country, ingraining this kind of NAMBY attitude in the students, and now the students are turning it on them and basically saying, you've seen how many professors that they've demanded the firing of professors who dared to say that you shouldn't be concerned about what Halloween costume students wear, and all of a sudden it's like, no, you've got to resign.
Well, Ann Coulter made it very clear yesterday. She still hasn't heard from UC Berkeley, and if need be, she's just going to stand out on a corner at Berkeley with a megaphone.
And we all know Ann, she will do that.
Absolutely.
So everyone has to watch on Friday, because I have a feeling she's going to make some news on Thursday.
And Bo Dito will probably work her security, and everything will be okay. And by the way, for the most part, when it comes to costumes on campus, stop dressing up. We're adults. Halloween way overrated. Stop dressing up, period.
I don't know.
Right?
Halloween's a big...
Well, there goes my
event.
October.
Yeah.
If you're going to dress as a cowboy, though, you can buy jeans at Nordstrom's with dirt on them.
A lot of mud. A lot of legitimate fake mud.
Thanks, Judge.
Judge Alex, thank you.
Great to be here. Thank you.